With the End and the Death Part 2, we have a whole bunch of new lore, but one of the biggest ones is leading up to the Jewel of Horus and the ramifications of what that could mean for future Warhammer 40,000 lore. Now, before I delve into this, I have to give a huge spoiler warning. If you're currently reading The End and the Death Part 2, if you haven't and you don't want to be spoiled, then please leave this video right now, because this is a massive, gigantic, huge spoiler. Now, this video is a massive link to the Dark King video I did the other week. If you want to go and watch that, watch it. Basically, to sum it up, the Emperor is the Dark King. But what we're talking about today is what happens after that, because something huge is about to happen with the Emperor. Well, it's already happened, and I think the ripples of this is going to affect Warhammer 40,000. So the Emperor literally has broke a shard of himself off. And in the background right now, I'm going to read the quote from Malcador, who witnesses this. So Malcador states, "In that shockwave of warp light, I saw something else, something perhaps only I was in a position to see. He has cast aside a fragment of himself. My lord and friend has broke off a part of his soul. He has amputated that portion of himself that contains almost all of his hope, loyalty, and compassion. For such things will become a hindrance when he faces Lupercal. Those qualities might stay his hand or make him hesitate if he is ultimately obliged to kill." So just from that little bit of text, we now know there's going to be a huge change at the end of the Horus Heresy duel with the Emperor, because he's literally broken that fragmentation of himself off that contains that compassion, that love, let's say, for Horus. So when it comes to the duel, there's no second guessing, because what we had in the old lore is that the Emperor basically got beat up and smacked over the head and was put in the position he was in because he loved Horus. He didn't want to kill Horus. He didn't want to kill his son. That is not the case anymore. And adding on top of that is that fragment of the Emperor now has literally been cast into the stars, and this is where it gets really interesting. Again, I'm going to read another quote from Malcador, who witnesses this fragmentation being shot out into the void. So again, it states, "I watched that jettison fragment as it drifts into the void. Just one more spark from this world bonfire. All his hope, his mercy, his grace, his love cast into the lightless tracts of space and time. That fragile will, as cosmic ages turn, slowly grow by of emotion and belief, just as the powers of chaos grow. It lumifies briefly, just as a speck of fire against the shrouded pinpricks of the Milky Way, like an infant sun or a child star, and then it is gone and lost from view." Now, this is where we get into the fun bits, because literally it's just stated there, a star child, a sun child, a child star. I know, whatever you want to call it, it's literally hinting to the star child theory from way back, and there's been other theories attached to it with some of the latest Inquisitor books and all that wild stuff in between. And I personally think now the star child, the way to bring the Emperor back is with this fragment. It all makes bloody sense. No, I don't need the foil, because this is facts. This is truth. What if, to bring the Emperor back, we go out and we find that fragment? Maybe we put it into another being itself, because we know that can happen. It happened with Magnus. That is how we got the Grand Master of the Grey Knights. A shard of Magnus was put into a normal Space Marine, and alas, a new being was born, and that is where the Grey Knights basically, well, their foundation came from this psychic being who had this shard of Magnus. There's a whole story with that and everything like that, but that's the case. Maybe we can have this shard of the Emperor put into another being. I'm not saying shove it down Sanguinius' throat, who's on Baal, and have like the Emperor Sanguinius hybrid Primarch, which would be totally amazing, by the way. But what if we find the shard and we actually put it back into the Emperor on Terra, and that is a way to heal him and renew him with new energies, and alas, the Emperor is reborn. Now, before you call me insane and get the foil at Valrak, Malkador actually states this in the book. Again, I'll put it in the background right now so you can read it. It says, he set those frail and carnal virtues adrift on the tides of the Imperium so they will not immobilize him, and in the hope that one day he will able to reclaim them and be whole again. The Emperor doesn't want to be this husk of devoid emotion. He wants to be the Emperor. Maybe, just maybe, this is what the King in Yellow is searching for. We don't know who the King in Yellow is. This fear is out there, of course. It did state in the book at the end of not Pandemonium, the latest Beckwin book, that the King in Yellow, or the Yellow King, whatever you want to call him, had the name Constantine Valdor, and a lot of people, myself included, like, oh my god, Constantine Valdor is going to be coming back. Maybe that's what he's been building this army for, if it is Constantine Valdor, to go and search for the Emperor's Shard to get the Emperor back into the swing of things. That would make sense for Valdor. Valdor is so loyal to the Emperor. People laugh at him because how loyal he is. It's like, you don't even have your own mind, Valdor. You're too loyal to the Emperor. Maybe this is what it's all for, making an army of blanks so we can go into the deepest reaches of the void and combat chaos and catch it, get that shard and bring it back and relight the Imperium, reawaken the Emperor into a new bloody era. I honestly really do think now, like, the previous theories about killing the Emperor, Cypher reaching Terra, killing the Emperor, and then the Emperor's going to be reborn because he's a perpetual, and that's a whole Star Child theory, stuff like that. I think that is all fake. That is all false. I do believe now that this fragmentation of the Emperor being cast out, finding it and bringing it back, that is the true Star Child theory. Killing the Emperor on Terra, he's probably just going to kill the Emperor on Terra, and then again, Chaos win. We don't want that. Maybe this is the big plan of Chaos, to try and fool us, to try and trick us into killing the Emperor when the real salvation is out there. What if, right? Just what if the Tree of Life is the fragmentation of the Emperor? Because the Emperor can heal people easily, right? What if that is what Russ has gone for? Russ heard a voice one day and disappeared. Maybe that was a fragmentation of the Emperor saying, Russ, come and find me. I am deep within the chaotic warp and stuff. Come and get me, Russ. And that's where he went to search for the so-called Tree of Life, which is really the fragment of the Emperor. And he wants to bring that back and help his father and stuff like that. There's so many bloody theories, so many things we can discuss of this. It is absolutely insane. All I know is that this has changed all the old lore that we know of Horus and the Emperor fighting, and it's going to be absolutely wild now when we get to that final End of the Death Part 2. I'm sure there's more massive lore twists and everything like that in the story, and I'm sure it's going to be absolutely amazing when we actually reach that final duel. Anyway, that's enough waffling from me as always. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, theories of yourself, do you believe the Star Child? Do you think this is the Star Child? Am I just an absolute lunatic without the foil? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with a nice little waffle down there as we always do. See you now, have a great day, and bye-bye.